What's up guys, Skullcrush120 here, and today I am bringing you a Magicka Sorceror build for the Imperial City Update 2.0.
Now I've had quite a few players request this build. I've met a lot of people and they've always wanted to know what it is, so it's not much has changed from the previous build, to be honest, except one or two small minor things, but other than that, a lot of people think that this build is dead, or was, because of the 50% reduction in damage shield and the introduction of the shield breaker set, and I'm here to tell you that's just wrong. If you know what you're doing and you know how to play sorcerer, it's more powerful than ever, to be honest. Right, let's jump straight into it then. At the moment I am running two Swords of Torix packs, both vet 16, both Nirnholm for the extra spell resistance and spell penetration. At the moment I've got shock enchantments on both of them, something to do with the high elf passive, to do with the element talent, increase the shock effects. You don't tend to hit people with your swords very often, so I don't know if this really applies, but you can sort this out for the Befouled if you really want. Doesn't really make a difference at this point in time. Then I've got 5-piece Magnus, the Restoration Staff defending, extra 12% physical spell resistance. Now, I don't have an enchantment yet, but I will have one. I think I was going to go for the extra minor damage shield or extra Magicka back when you hit a heavy attack. Along with the staff for the 5-piece, I've got Magnus shirt infused with max Magicka. I've got the shoulders, divines, max Magicka. Magnus gloves with divines, max Magicka, and the Magnus shoes, it divines with max Magicka. Very important, very good set. Extra max Magicka, magic recovery, spell damage, and the chance to negate a magic cost of spell. That will only apply when on my back bar though, which is my ward bar, so could be very helpful to have a ward negated if I'm low on magic. Very powerful. At the moment I have a 3-piece Phoenix to go with this. I've got the hat, the waist and the legs. Now I really want 3-piece Archmage. I've got one at the moment, the breeches. Thank you very much Pombear for that recent addition. You want infused on the legs, you want in divines on the waist, and you want infused on the head. All max Magicka. So the set is 5-piece Magnus, 3-piece Archmage, and then you'll have neck and both rings willpower, all arcane. Both rings will have spell damage, and the neck will have magic recovery. Very good set. Easy to grind for if you go into the blue side. Easily get maybe 60 of the required things for the vaults in about maybe 20 minutes. Easy peasy. Right, at the moment the character sheet is 35k max Magicka, 1900 and 2100. Switch to swords. We've got 2600 unbuffed. Buffed goes up to 3100. Now with the complete build, I believe buffed I can almost hit 4k. The magic recovery shot up as well, 35,700 max Magicka. All your attribute points into Magicka, very important. Don't bother with health or stamina, because you don't need it. You sit behind the shield. I go for the Atronak, and I also go for Tri-Staff foods, because you tend to dodge a lot more in this update as a sorcerer, to get out those extra CCs that people like to hit you with. Right, let's go into the bars. At the moment I've got on my attack bar, I've got Structured Entropy. Use this to buff up your crystal frags, just a general buff up of all of your things really. Last 14 seconds. Some people tend to use the Storm Calling Power Surge, lasts longer. Does the same thing except for the Mage's Guild passive down here. Might of the Guild, increase your next attack by 20%. If you get this along with the procced frag, which with the extra 20% on that as well, that's extra 40%. Now I've hit 15k before on a crystal frag. I've seen someone hit 17k before. Very powerful. Next is Malicious Curse. Most sorcerers will have this, to be honest. It's the general curse that everyone uses. Very powerful. Next is Inevitable Detonation. Now, I understand that a lot of people won't actually have Assault 10 or 9. I think it's 9 or 10 to get this. if you don't have this at the moment, you can substitute this for maybe restraining prison to trap people in their place, or you could have boundless storm or liquid lightning for extra stuff like that. I would personally go boundless storm for the extra speed, a little bit of damage, and extra physical and spell resistance. Very, very useful. The bread and butter of every sorcerer next, crystal fragments. Very, very powerful. Hits like a truck, single target. Once you have this procced, you want animation count to fire this off at someone. It's going to hit very, very hard. Next, you've got Endless Fury. Your finisher. I tend to spam this quite a lot to try and proc my frag. Also, if you get them down to 20% health, it's going to hit them very, very hard. So try and get them down, you use this. Ultimate at the moment, I don't actually normally have Reviving Barrier. I played around with this for a bit just as a laugh because, well, why not have an extra shield on a sorcerer that's already shield stacking? Also had it for the extra Magicka recovery from the passive in the support, the Magicka aid. I tend to run the Dawnbreaker of Smiting here instead. Attack against those vampires and werewolves that tend to come at you. A lot of people are one, very rare to not have one. At the moment I'm not, because I used to be a vampire, it was a weakness. Used to get put on my feet, on my arse a lot, to be honest. As soon as I took it away, found myself to be a lot more powerful. You also definitely want to have Skill Tracker for it to work against werewolves, and Slayer and Banish the Wicked. Very, very important. Next, onto our back bar. This is the defensive bar. Also, the bar where you get to move around very, very quickly. I tend to run Ball of Lightning over Streak because this is defensive bar. Streak's more on the offense. Plus, they did nerf this down from 6.5, 2.5 seconds. To be honest, it did need to be done because you used to be able to streak and then just sit there for 6 seconds and no one could hit you. Very, very stupid. And they've also increased the cost by 50% every time. You used to be able to spam this maybe, I think I could spam it 13 times before. Now I can only do it maybe 6 at most, which is very good. Stops sorcerers from running away from fights all the time. Next I've got Daedric Minefields. Whack these around on the floor. Very useful against Nightblade and people who like to crit rush you, especially Wrecking Blow spammers, my favourite. Put these down. Move away from them slowly so that when they crit rush you, they go through all your mines. But in the meantime, you've put all your cursors on. They're finished, to be honest. Next, I've got Dampen Magic. I used to run Harness Ward. Realised I didn't really need the extra magic every time I got hit, so I went for a larger damage shield instead. Current bonus 42%, all light armour. That's the max you can have, so it's quite a large damage shield even with the 50% reduction. Same with the other two, to be honest. Now, Healing Ward, you want to hit this when you're low. You can use it on allies as well to shield them. Very, very powerful. Relatively cheap. I mean, all the wards are quite similar. Hardened Ward's a bit cheaper, to be honest, but you want to hit this now. You want to use Healing Ward, and then you want to use Harden Ward, and then Dampen Magic. So, because it tends to go that the shield that you put on last goes down first. So you preferably want to, because once the Healing Ward runs out, you'll get all your health back. So if that goes down, you don't get your health back. So you want these to run out first if they get to there, and then your Healing Ward will go back up. Harden Ward, bread and butter of every sorcerer. If you don't have it, then, well, something's wrong. Massive damage shield, 10k damage shield with the extra 33% on yourself. If you run pets, which I really wouldn't recommend, they would also get damage shield. But and then Greater Storm Atronach. Now this is very useful for 1vx situations, or it's just in a sticky situation. Bring it down on their head, stuns them, does massive single point damage. And I tend to put this down, put mines around it, sit in my Atronach, and just put all my curses and depth on everyone else. When people try and hit me, if they try and crit rush me, they come through the mines. If they tend to hit the Storm Atronach than me anyway. Very, very useful. Next, on to champion points. Now, let's go into the one that everyone really cares about, Bastion. I've got 76. I will eventually get 100 into here for the extra 25% of my absorbed shields. Very, very powerful. I don't put anything else into any of the reds because Bastion's very, very important. Next, I've got 34 into Magician, reduce the magic cost of spells. Very, very useful. Now I tend to juggle them between that one and the Arcanist for the magic recovery. Just put a bit into one and a bit in the other, really, as you get your points. Very, very useful. Next, I put 12 into Tumbling. Now I will eventually get this to 5% because, as I said, you dodge roll a lot more in this update. You want to have reduced for break freeze as well. A lot more people are getting wise that you need to CC more, so you definitely need this. Next, into the Apprentice, I've got 30 into Elfborn for the extra spell critical, also 30 specifically for the spell precision, so you get extra 12% crit rating. I don't have any into the Atronak Ritual. I put 45 into, believe it's pronounced Thaumaturge, the extra magic damage. Now, I put all my remaining blue points into Thaumaturge until I get 100, crazy amount of damage. And that is the skill points, the champion points, guys. Now, yep, that's pretty much it. It's a very, very powerful build. It's quite tanky, it's speedy, you can move across the battlefield very, very quickly. Can hit massive, massive damage. I mean, I was getting hit by maybe 6-7 people, just kept putting on my shields. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Very important. You can animation cancel your shields like this. So hit block quickly straight after. Rather than taking that long to put a shield on, it takes that long. Very useful. You can use it for all sorts of things as well, like your mines. There you go. Especially for Dawnbreaker as well. So like that. Animation cancel Dawnbreaker. Hits them straight away. They don't see it coming. Can't dodge it. They die very, very quickly. I tend to also run for consumables. I just buy the Alliance spell draft, I believe it's called. Cheap, easy, saves me from having to buy or craft them. And that is pretty much it, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys soon.